Governor Jesse Ventura with us a little bit into the next hour. Then we have a surprise guest. And I'll assure you, you don't want to miss this coming up. All right, let's get into the serious subject of vaccines, then get into the climate. Governor, I happen to have bought over 100 textbooks. We have 2 rooms full of them here at the office, but one of them was written by the White House science czar, who, by the way, is in these ClimateGate emails, how they want to shut off everybody's resources, shut off the West. Only the U.S. and Europe have to make cuts. Third world doesn't, which will deindustrialize us. In here, they talk about putting chemicals in the water to sterilize us. In other government and UN documents I have, they talk about putting chemicals in the vaccines to cause autoimmune disease and sterilize people. I've had brain surgeons like Dr. Russell Blaylock on who discovered that they know they're doing this by design. And so your instinct to not take the vaccines is good, but take Dale Dudley, local radio talk show host. He took the regular seasonal flu shot. His hands went paralyzed. His feet went paralyzed. He went into all these specialists, and they admitted, you've got Guillain-Barré, but it went away. It normally goes away with people. I mean, this is some serious stuff, and I know I'm in the population control episode. We talk about that in the upcoming TV show that premieres next Wednesday at 9 o'clock Central all across the United States. But, I mean, researching population reduction, talking to some of the, I don't know if you want to say the name, because I could have interviewed him, but I want to wait for the TV show. But you guys got in touch with an insider whistleblower from Maurice Strong's organization. This is some powerful info. What's your take on that?
I'll tell you, Alex, you don't know what to take from it, to be honest. It's so repulsive when you hear it that you just can't imagine that there are people out there with this type of thing on their agenda. I guess that's the best way I can put it to you. It becomes almost to where to the point of unbelievable that human people could have on their agenda what some of these people have and the arrogance of them for having it.
Well, segueing out of vaccines, John P. Holdren is in these thousands of emails, the White House science czar 3 years ago when he was one of the head people at Harvard, on how to spin. I don't know if you ran into him when you were at Harvard,
no.
On how to spin this and control this and cook the numbers and fake the data. And, oh, my God, the Earth's getting colder for the last few years. How do we fix the numbers? We've caught them red-handed. Lord Mockton, who I know you guys interview for the TV show, he is calling for criminal indictments. Senator Inhofe is calling for criminal investigations here in the United States. I mean, to have the smoking gun, it's one thing to catch Al Gore saying polar bears can't swim and saying we're all going to drown, and it turns out that's disinformation. He then just says he made a mistake. But to have the internal emails from the main university that the UN is citing, the IPCC, I mean, to have this smoking gun, what do you think should happen?
Well, certainly, if this is a fraud, then the fraud needs to be exposed and the proper things need to be done. Because I was a believer, I was told, and it sounds very believable, and all of us are against polluting, I think that's the common thing, is that we all feel that there should be less pollution in the air, and if we can get more miles to a tank of gas, those are good things. We should work for those things. We should work to use the sun. We should find alternative energy. Those are all positive, good things. But then when I learn about something is being done to strictly manipulate and become a revenue getter, to where it becomes a profit maker, where they use something that might be a good thing, but then they twist it and turn it into a massive profit-making machine, because along with controlling profits comes controlling people and power. Money and power go hand in hand.
Absolutely.
And when it turns to that level of money and power over something that, we all agree on, we should pollute less. We've only got one planet, and it's a good idea to take care of it. But to allow it to then spin into being a huge money-making, profiteering thing beyond the good of it, that's where you draw the line and say these people ought to go to jail for what they do.
Well, what about the fact that only the U.S., England, and Europe have to make the cuts? And so if carbon dioxide is so deadly, of course, plants breathe it, but they're saying listing it as a poison. If you only cut it out in the West, all the studies show that it will go to China and India and Mexico and 160 other countries where they'll have zero emissions controls, and actually more of these gases will be released.
Well, first of all, laws are made, and when you do things globally, whether you do them globally, whether you do them local, county-wise, statewide, national-wide, or anything, laws should be equal. So what I'm saying there is, if we go to this global thing and they say these are the rules, then the rules should apply to us the same as they do to China, the same as they do to India, the same as they do to every other country. And if it doesn't do that simple thing, then it's BS. Then you shouldn't go for it at all.
That's just common sense.
That's common sense. It has to be equality across the board.
Equal protection.
And you can't penalize one area while allowing another area to do it.
Equal protection under the law. Governor,
exactly.
that's what I like about you, is that in your, decades on the scene, you have evolved, you've changed, you've learned, you've admitted when you've been wrong. Most people in politics, in society, will not do that. They will never admit that they have changed their views.
Well, the only thing that changes views is knowledge, and when you become knowledgeable on things, that gives you the ability to change a view. If you remain ignorant on a subject, well, then you're not going to change your view, and there's no possibility of that happening. Alex, one of the things that I was very honest about when I became governor, we have 24 commissioners that run 24 separate departments of state government. How can you possibly go out to the public and tell them that you're an expert in all of those 24 fields?
You can't. It'd be a lie.
Can't. And therefore, you rely on experts in the field. And that's, to me, is true leadership. The ability to delegate authority to people you trust, allow them to do their jobs. If they shine, you shine. It's that simple. If they do a great job, for me, when I'm governor, even though I don't take a direct hand in it, it's his baby, I still shine in the end. And
that's a really good point.
To me, is true leadership and management.
It certainly is. This Copenhagen, Denmark event is coming up, and Ban Ki-moon, Secretary General of the UN, wrote an editorial titled, "We Can Do It," where he said, global government is here. The key to world government is this planetary regime that will control all the nations and control resources, and the carbon tax is the key. Then last week, Van Rompuy, the new head of the European Union, and said this on the BBC. We're going to play that clip right now. Here it is.
2009 is also the first year of global governance, with the establishment of the G20 in the middle of the financial crisis. The climate conference in Copenhagen is another step towards the global management of our planet. Our mission, our presidency, is one of hope, supported by acts...
Okay, there you go. Governor, how can they be announcing world government everywhere, but then call us conspiracy theorists if we discuss the world government?
Well, again, utterly ridiculous. There's a simple thing and a simple rule, Alex, that I think everybody needs to reassess, and that is always judge someone. Don't necessarily judge them by what they say, judge them by what they do. And when they're doing something, no matter what they say, judge by what they're doing. And now, the whole globalization thing, I kind of view it like this in a way. Maybe it's inevitable, Alex.
But the problem is
Let me finish, though. Maybe because with our technology and the way... I believe in evolution. I'm not one of these people that throws Darwin's theory out the window and says, I believe in evolution, because I see it on a daily basis. And I'm not saying I'm in support of the globalization of the planet, but maybe it's evolution. Maybe through technology, the world gets so small that we will eventually, maybe not in our lifetime, but 100 years from now, maybe that's the direction that it'll go, and I don't know, is there anything that can be done about it?
Let me give you my take on this, and I'm honored to be able to give you my take because you influence a lot of people. Nationalism and sovereignty and borders give people a chance to flee tyranny, and also gives coalitions like the Allies a chance to defeat Hitler and Mussolini and the Imperial Japanese. Let's say we got a loving world government in place. Statistically, it's an absolute certainty that over time, a tyranny will take control of that global government. But it's worse than that. We know the groups setting up world government are tyrannical, are eugenicist. And I have the Times of London headline, "World's rich meet in secret to discuss overpopulation and how to depopulate." We know that they don't want us as a people of the planet. If people of the planet want world government, then that's their issue. They've been building this in secret so we wouldn't have any input in it. And it's not 100 years. We're beginning to go under this right now.